Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Perspective. We'll be talking about, of course, the PTI's Jail Bharo Tehreek, and of course, it seems to be in reality when there has been, of course, the PTI leaders have gone and given arrests, but later they've also gone to High Court and against those arrests. We'll be talking about the ramifications. Is this a backtracking? What does it mean overall as far as the narrative of the PTI is concerned when they have gone for a tehreek like Jail Bharo Tehreek? What are the modalities of it? What do they expect after? What did they expect after these arrests were made? Voluntary arrests were made. We'll be talking about that. We'll also be talking about overall the situation preceding this Jail Bharo Tehreek as far as the country is concerned. Of course, it seems rather than a power tussle which is ignited by the opposition at this time, then of course talk on issues like economy, like issues that confront Pakistan, security challenges, all of those things. There doesn't seem to be a lot of discourse on those issues at this time. There doesn't seem to be discourse on inflation, price hike, foreign reserves, trade deficit, all of those things, and the way that Pakistan suffered there at the hands of the last government, starting and then ending when PTI government left after the vote of no confidence. We'll be talking about that as far as the overall political situation is concerned. Of course, there is also the courts at this time. There's also the verdict pending, the case being heard as far as the elections on two major provincial assemblies, KP and Punjab, is concerned, the ramifications of that. In other news, of course, ECP has also reinstated 32 of PTI's MNAs, and as it seems at this time, the by-elections on those seats will not be held. All of that today on Perspective. I have with me Naveed Aman Khan, who is a senior analyst. Thank you for being with us today. We also have with us Barrister Humayun, who is a legal expert. Thank you for joining us. And Dr. Niaz Murtaza, who is also a senior analyst. Thank you for joining us. Ji, Naveed Sahab, let's, overall the situation at this time, like we were earlier talking about, of course, there's a Jail Bharo Tehreek. But it seems to be rather a tehreek of contradictions because, on the one hand, we have these voluntary arrests, and on the other hand, we have, recourse to the High Court also. How do you see this panning out for the PTI at this time? Also, the numbers that were earlier given out, the people who, Imran Khan Sahab thought and his own leaders thought would surrender and would voluntarily go for arrest, have considerably, I mean, if we look at it at this time, they're, much less than what was anticipated. So how do you overall look at it?
In fact, Baruch, it is not a movement or a tehreek. It is a fun. Fun or fuss. Fun for PTI and fuss for the rest of the country or the nation. Imran Khan has always been going in the masses without any homework. He doesn't know what to say and what will be the implication of his sayings and his steps. Right from the 2018 joining in the government to this time, he decides to go in the media and then he takes U-turn and he faces embarrassment and embarrassed situation within the political arena. If you consider, if you just have a look on his decision about the resignations from the National Assemblies or the dissolution of Punjab and KPK assemblies, May 25 decision or November decision or any decision or even this Jail Bharo Tehreek decision without a complete homework.
It doesn't seem to be. Let me come back to you. I'm going to go to Barrister Humayun. Ji, Barrister Sahab, can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
How, of course, this case as far as the Election Commission is concerned and what happens pursuant to that, it's also, as far as the judges are concerned, and I don't want to go too much into it, but at this time, of course, as a country, we are enveloped in, issues of issues that may not be as relevant for the country at this time as perhaps economy is. So overall, how do you look at the Jail Bharo Tehreek, at the same time also the courts pursuant to assemblies that have been dissolved because the former Prime Minister so desired?
Well, as far as the Tariq is concerned, I think mostly such kind of movements are would say adopted by the political parties in defiance of the legal system or the constitutional system which is which is being adopted by the countries. But I think in our situation we all accept the legal parameters which are adopted by our country, or we all accept the 1973 constitution. I don't think there is any place of adopting such kind of tactics, because these are very old tactics, and these were mostly adopted in defiance of the system. Like these were used against the Britishers because we thought they were as usurpers, and they defeated, or would say were misusing our resources. So I don't think there is any relevance of this movement today. And as far as your question regarding the Supreme Court is concerned, that in my view, as far as elections are concerned,
Let
I
me come
think
back to you on that. On that, Parsa, we'll come back. On the issue of elections. Let me come back to you. I'm going to go to Dr. Niaz Murtaza. Niaz Saab, can you hear me? Okay, Aman Saab, one of the things that Barrister Saab spoke about, he said that it's not really relevant to the Jail Bharo Tehreek, is not really relevant to what's happening at this time. Unfortunately, that's true. I think he's probably said it better, that it's not relevant as a whole to what's happening with this country at this time. As far as our economy is concerned, our security is concerned, our relationship with other countries is concerned, those things should be our focal point at this time. The opposition, of course, should play their role. They should criticize where they need to. They should give their input where they feel the government is going wrong, instead of the abuse and the slander and the verbal venom that comes out and against, and the personal attacks and all of those things that have unfortunately now become a part of political discourse. To the extent that where anybody with any self-respect wants to shy away from being in politics at this time. I have to say that. Do you agree?
In fact, Baruch, at this stage, when Pakistan is in really economically in trouble, politically Pakistan is under pressure and in crisis. Imran Khan, if we understand Imran Khan, we need to understand his school of thought and his approach, his background. He's a man of crisis. Crisis means he doesn't resolve the crisis, he creates the crisis. And he feels himself very comfortable in the crisis situation, and he feels very comfortable to put others in the crisis. He has put Pakistan in crisis, and in crisis situation, Pakistan has been facing a lot since his taking oath in 2018. As a politician, in the part, his attitude was the same, and in opposition, his attitude has not changed. He behaves in a same temperament and way. It doesn't work. It doesn't help the country and the nation. Pakistan needs reconciliation. Pakistan needs to resolve the issues in the assembly. Assembly is the only forum where the politicians need to go. And
what do you think they expect, from what do you think the opposition and the former Prime Minister, because, I keep going back to this, that earlier on when he came into power, a little into a year into his government, he would come out and say on the media, and his party would maintain that they had no idea, when people would ask them why aren't reforms happening, when people would ask them why aren't, everything that you said, the 10 million, how many houses, all of those, their own, their own manifesto, things that were part of their own manifesto, the change that they talked about, why wasn't it happening? They said, well, things are much worse than what we thought they were.
In fact, the things
now,
yes.
You think, what do they think? If to them it seems to be about power at this time. What do they think if they come back into power at this time? How will he, you think it's going to be a walk in the park, it's going to be easy for him? Are those challenges going to disappear that the government of the day is grappling with?
No. His problem is incapacity, incapability. He doesn't enjoy that potential, which is the potential of a prime minister. He has been in power for 4 years. He did nothing. He could not deliver anything. No mega project or no success is in his credit during the last 4 years. And if at this stage, if the country goes in elections, and if by fortune he wins elections and he comes in the power, he will not be in the position to take Pakistan to that safe harbor which we expect.
Let me go to Baisab. I'll come back to you. Ji, Baisab, it started with as far as the PTI is concerned, as far as the opposition is concerned, it started with the cipher conspiracy, and then it started with the institutions, the whole narrative against the Election Commission, institutions of this country, and I don't think any institution has really been spared by the opposition at this time, overall, since the vote of no confidence happened. His own people who didn't agree with his politics, they have been subjected to a lot of criticism, they've been subjected to a lot of slander. In that kind of an environment, we have what happened as far as the KP and the Punjab Assembly is concerned. Now, Ji, Naveed Sahab, there's a problem with audio, but in that environment, we saw the KP and the Punjab Assembly being dissolved. It seems to be, according to the opposition at this time, one pressure tactic after another. And then, according to him, it doesn't seem to matter the kind of climate, the kind of challenges the country is dealing with as far as economy is concerned. It doesn't seem to matter to them that we are, whether when they dissolve the assemblies, its own ramifications on, things like going back to the fund, at this time as far as economy is concerned, the kind of upheaval he's throwing the country into, that has not mattered. Now it's the jail bharo Tehreek.
As a politician, the responsibility of opposition leader or any politician is different from that of Imran Khan's behavior. Imran Khan should have gone for the discussions, for the solution of the issues, for addressing the issues which are very important for Pakistan at this stage, when Pakistan is facing the lowest level of foreign reserves. Pakistan is at the lowest level of the diplomatic relationships in the world because of Imran Khan's very bad behaviors and very inconsistent dealings with different countries. Now, what Imran Khan should do? Imran Khan has gone for the dissolution of KPK and Punjab Assembly. I cannot say those were good decisions. Those were very untimely decisions, and what he got out of those dissolutions.
But it seems to be about pressure tactics, right? He's trying to pressurize the
government. It was not the pressure. In
government.
fact, it was just to create fuss and create
essentially to mount pressure on the government.
Yes.
And this jail bharo Tehreek is also, of nuisance value. You agree, right?
It is, but fortunately, I would say.
It doesn't seem to be as successful as the former Prime Minister probably thought it would be. That's one of those things, I want to talk about.
And fortunately, that jail bharo Tehreek is not successful. And this homework has not been done by Imran Khan. He thought that when he will call for jail bharo Tehreek, the people will come out and go to the jail for his sake. The people, they know. The leader, the supreme commander of PTI is at home in Zaman Park, and he is asking the people to go to the jail for his sake.
But why should people go? My question,
that is why they did not go.
The question is, yes, they didn't. But, to expect people, his own people, is he not making, unnecessary, extraordinary demands of his own people also? I mean, they should leave, they should, surrender their liberty for what?
He believes that the people, when he will call, the people will come out and go to the jails. But when he called, nobody came out and offered themselves to go to the jail. He himself, in fact, remained at home, and he asked the people to come out. How? I mean, the people, they are not going to believe it.
But Aman sir,
They demand, if you want to come. If you want to ask us, you need to come out and lead us.
But Aman sir, even then, you know, the point is that these people, these public representatives who go to the public for votes, and then, you know, they come and they sit in the National Assembly. Is their role, you know, of course, we're talking about Jail Bharo Tehreek, you know, when Azadi, before Azadi, you know, when we were part of perhaps the subcontinent, those things were different. At this time, when you are a part of the National Assembly, or you're part of any, you know, your public representatives who come into the assemblies, you do that to criticize the government, you do that to bring about change for your people. Whether you're in the government or you're in the opposition, your role as a public representative, is it not to talk about constructive, if you're in the opposition, constructive criticism that can change things for your people and hence your country?
He believes that the people are unwise, and he can make fool of the people all the time elsewhere. But it's not the truth. You cannot make every person fool at every level and every time. If he feels that he will say, he will ask the people to come out and follow him. This Jail Bharo Tehreek's failure is a clear example of the sense of the people. They have refused to come out and respond him as he has been expecting. And his own companions, if we don't talk about the people, if we talk about the politicians, all the politicians, they refuse to go to the jail. None offered offered to go to jail in KPK.
I know. I mean, overall, the failure you're saying of the Tehreek from his own people also. I mean, there's refusal to. Let me go to Dr. Niaz Murtaza. Ji, Niaz Saab, can you hear me? I think. Niaz Saab, can you hear me?
If we go, if we just pay attention towards the attitude of the people. The people, they in fact are suffering from a price hike, inflation issue. They are indulged in their own problems. They are facing many problems, and they are not ready to come out and sacrifice themselves for the sake of Imran Khan, knowing that Imran Khan is not there to sacrifice himself for the people.
Exactly, but even, you know, he's not, you know, he doesn't have their back, like you are saying. Of course, those things are relevant, and that will affect his appeal as a whole. What about puncturing of his narratives, so to speak? You know, it keeps on changing.
I would add one thing in our discussion.
Ji.
He is asking the children, the sons and the daughters of the people, of the masses, to come out and go to the jail for his sake. But he is not asking his sons and his daughter to come and lead this Jail Bharo Tehreek and this jihad, and make this jihad and Tehreek successful. So the people, they think that if your offspring are not here to lead the Tehreek or jihad, why should we send our children to go to the jail for your sake?
Why do you think the leadership of the former Prime Minister stopped, you know, if one can call it that at all, the moment he ceased to be the Prime Minister of this country? You know, because the power stopped, and, you know, overall, as far as his own, it seems to be, you know, very blatantly a struggle for power. Does it not? I mean, you know, with his own people being thrown under the bus, with his own supporters being thrown under the bus, to be told to sacrifice. For what? You know, what will they gain?
To bring him into the power.
Into the power. And
no
then
problem. He wants to use the people to come in the power. He wants to use the establishment to take him to the power. And now he is using another institution to take him to the power. He is not addressing the actual the point, the actual masses. He uses the people or the institutions as shield. He is habitual of it.
what do you think will happen after this Jail Bharo Tehreek? I mean, it's an interesting question because, you know, after the dissolution of assemblies, this is the next move, then
this is the last thing which Imran Khan could offer or could go in the masses. No, Imran Khan has nothing
Navita, people thought that when he dissolved the assemblies also, and now he's come up with this Jail Bharo Tehreek. And
I don't think
of
Imran
course
Khan
he's,
has anything.
he's ultimately going to damage himself, because we are seeing, as far as the Jail Bharo Tehreek is concerned, there seems to be, a stark failure.
I say Imran Khan is not a politician; he is a funkar, and he does funkari with the nation. So such things or such tactics can maintain him in the media, but cannot uplift his political stature, or cannot endorse his stature on the international level or on the national level as well. I don't think his future in politics in Pakistan is very good in the coming days. I don't think, because of his backing, changing of the narratives day after the other.
As far as overall, the dissolution is concerned, one of the issues that has been raised in court, I mean, I understand that this is something I don't want to delve too much into, because of course it's in court, is that whether the dissolution itself was lawful or not. Certainly it was at the behest of one man that, the assemblies of two of the major provinces of this country were dissolved.
I think he decided to go out of the National Assembly, and he himself dissolved two provincial assemblies. It was not the federal government who decided to throw him out of the National Assembly or the provincial assemblies.
And then they wanted to return also. So
now, if he is now asking or requesting to bring him back to the assemblies, it makes no sense. And it is not the mandate of, even I would say it is not the mandate of any institution to bring them in the assemblies again, because he himself has decided to go out of the assemblies. And this bringing him in the assemblies means you are charge sheeting the federal government. The federal government has nothing to do with it.
Exactly.
It is okay if we give him leverage and bring him back in the assemblies. Will he be again in the position, or will he be ready to participate in the reconciliation or to resolve the issues with the federal government or not? Or again in the assembly he will create another fuss or another crisis. So this all depends upon the behavior of Imran Khan. If he wants to resolve the issues of the country, he will have to talk to the federal government in the assemblies or even out of the assemblies.
Do you think
unless you talk, unless you sit and discuss, you cannot reach any conclusion.
Overall, of course, the ACP has also suspended the denotification of 32 on 32 seats as far as the PTI is concerned. So, and of course, this it's still pending in the High Court at this time. So, what do you think will happen? They will, in the meantime, return to the National Assemblies. Of course, this is a clear contradiction in narratives at this time.
They are dying for it. They are waiting for it, and they are waiting that the time should come when the ECP or the courts declare in favor of them and ask them to come in the assemblies. Fine. If they come in the assemblies, very fine. They should come and they should.
Of course, they should play their role, as a constructive opposition, yes. and that's what the government has always been saying.
Their coming in the assembly at this stage is not. I don't think it is a constitutional decision. But even then, if it is not a constitutional decision, if we give leverage to Imran Khan, yes, if he comes in the assembly, he should play his role, positive and constructive role for the betterment of Pakistan and the country and the nation as well.
Let me come back. We have Barrister Humayun back with us. Barrister Humayun, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
So what about this decision of, what are the ramifications of this decision, this latest decision by the Election Commission on suspending, sorry, this is not the Election Commission, this is the court, of suspending of course the Election Commission issued the suspension on these 32 seats. On the denotification. So overall, what are the ramifications of this? The PTI MNAs will return to the National Assemblies, barring, of course, at this time, the decision of the Speaker, as I understand.
Maruf, it is very difficult to say anything now because this calculus of parliament applies when things are happening in proportion, because we see instability out of proportion in Pakistan. So I don't think these things will matter anymore, whether a particular party has seats in the National Assembly or not. I think our first priority should be to bring stability in our political system, which will give rise to a stable economy, and that will give prosperity to our country. I think the basic purpose of our politicians and all the institutions or the society should be to bring stability to the system so that we can have a sustained growth and a stable economy. That is the need of the hour. Otherwise,
Barrister
Pakistan
Humayun,
seems to be in trouble.
yes, but as a lawyer, how do you see this decision of the court, and what do you feel are the ramifications of this decision for the PTI as a whole? Do you think they're going to become a part of the political process, even as the issue of the provincial assemblies is being argued at this time in the Supreme Court? Do you see them, perhaps becoming a part of the political process? Perhaps it's a better, arrangement where the opposition can then play its role in the parliament.
Well, Baruch, I think we discussed these things a few months back, and now time has come where I think things should have gone in a particular direction, which it has not happened yet. So I think every other decision, every new decision is creating more chaos into the system. I don't see any kind of stability, even as far as legal decisions are concerned. So, because the institutions are becoming more and more controversial, we have recently seen rising of criticism against the courts of Pakistan. So, these are also signs of more instability into the system. We need to work over that. I think in my humble
Barrister Saab,
opinion,
let
High
me
Court
come
should
back to
not
you.
have High Court should have appointed
Maruf,
Let me, Ji Naveed Saab.
Maruf, in fact, you would remember that Chaudhry Parvez Ilahi, he has been advising Imran Khan not to go out of the National Assembly and the provincial assemblies. And his other companions also advised him not to go for this decision. But Imran Khan was stubborn enough, and he did not listen to anybody, and he went against them. He didn't know the backlash of leaving the assemblies. But Parvez Ilahi, being a seasoned politician, he knew what will happen when you are resolving the provincial assemblies and you are resigning in the National Assembly. And now, within a month or so, Imran Khan understood and believed that his companions were right and Parvez Ilahi was right on advising him, and he was wrong. That he did not admit it, but he has now started trying to come back in the assemblies, no matter it is constitutional or unconstitutional. Whatsoever suits to him is constitutional, and what doesn't suit to him is unconstitutional.
Naveed sir, we've also been talking about this, that as far as these elections are concerned, there is of course this agitation by the PTI at this time to go for the elections. But he might be unexpectedly surprised with the results. And then again, the point is, where does the buck stop? Are we going to have the same kind of chanting against the institutions? We've seen how he's been categorically, talking against the election commission. Whenever, as far as the Karachi, if you remember, the recent elections in Karachi and Sindh overall, where the PTI really suffered. It wasn't even the third party leading, as I recall.
It was in number 4.
Yes, and there was immediately press conferences and the fact that they didn't accept those results. They said those results were not, or polls were not conducted honestly.
Maruf,
so the
fact,
narrative overall is about not accepting a defeat.
Maruf, in fact, if one continues this behavior, it is the obligation of the institutions to take him to certain line and draw a red line. When he crosses the red line, the institutions are there to
Naveed
teach
Saab,
him
then
lessons.
he starts the Jail Bharo Tehreek.
But Jail Bharo Tehreek is failure. It's not a
Yes.
successful Tehreek.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
After the Karachi or Sindh elections, he decided to go for Jail Bharo Tehreek. After the failure in Sindh elections, he went for another failure.
Right.
And he doesn't know what to say and what to go for. When he faces, then he cries.
Exactly.
Now, I don't think that after this crisis, he will not create another crisis. He will continue creating
That's what
crisis.
I'm saying. So where does the buck stop? Even if you listen to him, you go for elections. He dissolves the assemblies.
He is in the opposition, but he will continue creating crisis. Once he comes in power, he will also create crisis. If today you go for the elections and he wins elections by fortune, he comes in power. Do you think he will not create crisis within 2-3 months? He will create, because he doesn't know how to handle the political situation, whether in power or out of the power. He doesn't know how to negotiate, and he is not ready to go for any
Naveed Saab,
negotiations.
the kind of political maturity that should have been shown by a former Prime Minister of this country, unfortunately and very sadly, has not been seen.
Unfortunately, he has learned nothing.
And it's
he
very
is not
sad
mature
because,
enough.
starting from the cipher, which of course, has led to, I mean, it's of course, as far as our relationship with other countries is concerned, it seems to be that the former Prime Minister didn't really care if they were impacted at
Farooq,
the time.
if you just have a look on his behaviors, his dealings with different head of the states or the head of the governments, what he did with Xi Jinping, Putin, Mahathir Mohamad, MBS, Erdogan, you name any, or even Joe Biden, you name any politician, he misbehaved, even he abused international personalities. Is this a stature of any prime minister?
That's what I'm saying, that the leadership, his own stature, the fact that, he's
now
the former Prime Minister.
the masses of Pakistan will have to think 100 times whether they are ready to bring such a person in power again who abuses international personalities and gives a very bad name to this country and the nation.
And at the same time, then there seems, and then he believes in this kind of, larger than life image of himself.
Even then he believes himself that he is on right and the others are on the wrong direction. And he believes that he is a scholar and he knows everything better than any other person. He knows economy better than every person. He knows politics better than every person. He knows culture better than every person. He knows politics of any country better than himself. But if he is expert of everything and expert of economy in particular, what he has done with the economy of Pakistan, if he had learnt one lesson from China, he would not have gone to this level, and the country would not have gone to this level. The successful model of China, the successful model of America are enough to go for study cases for Pakistan. If we want to take Pakistan to the success, we need to go, or we need to opt the success story of China.
As far as the Jail Bharo, going back, a little bit, as far as the Jail Bharo Tehreek is concerned, of course, not only to the people he's asking, his own followers, but also to his own leaders. Of course, it seems unfair to ask this of them over a cause that seems to be largely about power. But, after, of course, we've seen people that have come out, it seems to be about 80 names, in Punjab, if I'm not wrong. And overall, the statistics have shown that, there is, the jails have not been able to fill up.
No. We have enough capacity in the jails, and we welcome, or the Pakistani nation welcome PTI to come and fill the jails. Jails are empty, and jails are ready to welcome them, and they are not ready to go to the jails. That is why the police in Punjab and KPK and in the entire country, they on microphone they have been inviting or requesting them to please come and go to the jail, but they are not ready to go to the jail.
People, I mean, it's about
because their leader is not ready to go to the jail.
Dictatorial kind of politics that the former Prime Minister is very fond of saying is rampant in other political parties seem to exist in his own. I mean, there doesn't seem to be an option of no. They keep on saying that it's a democratic party, but where, what kind of a democratic party is this where you're being asked to surrender your liberty?
This is a democratic country. You are representing a democratic political party, so-called. You will have to behave like a democrat. But you are behaving like a dictator. It doesn't work, and it did not work. During the last 4 years, it did not work at all. And it will never work if Imran Khan once again goes in the same fashion and comes in the power and tries to practice the same way. It will not work. And I would say that he will have to mend himself if he wants to be one of the stakeholders in the politics of Pakistan. Otherwise, he'll be irrelevant in the politics any longer.
And perhaps within his own party also. I mean, he's exhausting his own people. He's exhausting his own followers. It started from the march, if you remember.
The failure of this Jail Bharo Tehreek is the result of that.
His own party also, Naveed Sahab, his own people, perhaps, he should have concentrated on his, as far as issues like electioneering, as far as performance on election day is concerned, for which PTI is not known for performing.
He is not focusing on agenda. What he will go, what he will deliver, or what he will offer to the nation in the next elections. What is his program, what is he going to offer to the nation when he is asking for the elections? Yes, he is asking for the elections, and if after one and a half month, if elections are announced, what he will offer to the nation? He has said nothing about it. He just raised hue and cry. And
no, it seems to be a vituperative kind of discourse. It seems to be slander. It seems to be abuse. That's all as far as his discourse is concerned. It's not about what he will do. And we saw the promises that he made earlier on when he came into power.
You need to come with a
Those
program.
Are also
what is his program in the future?
Fulfilled.
And right, even if he gives the program, I don't think the people will believe in his program, because what the program he gave in 2018 elections, nothing has been fulfilled. So if he gives another program, nobody will go for to believe his words.
Right. Unfortunately, that's all the time that we have. Thank you so much for being with us, Naveed Aman Khan. Thank you for joining us, Barrister Humayun. Thank you for being with us today. Of course, one would like to sit here and talk about issues like inflation, like the overall situation as far as our at this time the problems the common man is facing, as far as issues that the government is tackling with, it's grappling with, the changes they're trying to make since they took over last year. But the opposition would ensure and has tried to ensure for the last year that the discourse centers around their struggle to be back in power. And therefore we still talk about dissolution, we still talk about Jail Bharo Tehreek, which is unfortunate for this country when issues are something else that we face today. Thank you so much for joining us.